Welcome to Stories of a Volunteeraholic.
A good new friend, Sarah Vargo from Wear Blue, Run to Remember, with me today, and that's exciting. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Good. So I always start off with, did you grow up volunteering or did you start volunteering as an adult?
You know, I don't think I can remember life before volunteering. It was just always a part of the daily routine. I come from a pretty big family. So you have some like voluntold that you're just really born into. And I have to say, I really appreciate that because I found that I really liked to help and I liked to have jobs. And so, as a child, that was like, okay, let me just be the boss here. Some people just born into it there. But, that really led to just a love of, within the church, like volunteering with the nursery. And then in junior high, I think they used to call them candy stripers, but I went and volunteered at a nursing home and helped with with their activities. And so, looking back, like point by point, it's all what paved my path to what I do now as a grown-up. So yeah, I was born into volunteering, and I'm glad I was.
That's exciting. Like I've shared with a lot of people, volunteering is my joy. It definitely pours in. When you're volunteering in the right space, it should pour into you. Mm-hmm. And so that's exciting. Well, tell us about what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, life is a journey. And my volunteer life is actually how I met my late husband. I was volunteering with Special Olympics and then met this Army boy, beautiful blue eyes. Story just went from there. So he made me an Army spouse. And then years later, he actually made me a Gold Star spouse. So through that, I had different jobs within his unit, volunteering as the, FRG leader and whatnot. And so the military just became such an important part of my life that when I transitioned from being a Blue Star family to a Gold Star family, I needed that still. And so I started going to Survivor Outreach Services events, and that led to me being a coordinator with them. It's my very long answer here, which led me to meeting Lisa Hallett, who is the co-founder and CEO of Wear Blue, Run to Remember. And we had a really important conversation just surrounding not simply just what the general Gold Star population might be missing, but how we can better support our youth. She has 3 amazing children, and my background is early childhood education. And so we both came at it with a heart of, what can we do here? There's so many amazing organizations out there that support our kids with things, which who doesn't want to receive a package in the mail? Very cool. And who, offered to bring the child outside of their community to meet other peers and whatnot. But what we really saw was that our surviving youth needed people, and they needed their own connection to the military, because so many, just as Lisa's youngest, Heidi, didn't get a chance to meet their parent and forge their own identity as a military child, and also to have, the memories of their parent. So they get the hand-me-down stories, and which become a part of who they are. It's what they have, and that's wonderful, and you don't want to take that away from them, but you also know that they deserve more. They deserve their own connection. So that's where we came together, and 2017 was our first year of the Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program.
Okay, let me stop you there. I want to say I've known Lisa Hallett for years, and she's one of my favorite people. I think she is just an amazing, amazing woman. And I could do hours about stories with Lisa and her family. And I know you're not supposed to pick favorites, but Heidi is my favorite. I have a lot of fond memories of watching her grow up kind of from afar. I mean, we're not close family friends, but from being a part of the Wear Blue Circle on Saturdays, I just really enjoy Lisa and Heidi and their story. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And I've heard, I don't know what year it was. It might've been 2018, something like that. Heard Lisa speak, and she spoke specifically about Heidi's story of her feelings that she shared with her mom about not having memories with her dad. And I think that's super powerful. And I remember there was not a dry eye in the room that we were in, and it was very powerful. So I am super excited for the youth mentorship program. I think it's beautiful. I love getting kids, like you said, their own connection with the military, and also outside, working out and different things like that.
Absolutely. People just meet people, and our youth are no different. And to give them an outlet where they can set their own goal, whatever that might be, because every child has their own unique strengths and interests. And, we want to support that. So I think of a couple of our youth where Joey, who is one of the fastest kids I know, outruns his mentor every year. His goals are more along the lines of, how to improve his form, or, to improve his time and whatnot. And then I think of my sweet Asher, sorry, not mine. One of our kids in the program, I claim them all, who loves bugs, and he loves chasing and bugs catching. He's the reason I know at Powderworks Park there are little frogs, and that there's little baby snakes and all sorts of, different creatures, because that's where his heart is. So to have, his goal being that, he'd walk so many miles, or, run so many miles, and then it was bug time again, so I really love that we have a space that is inclusive and supportive of everyone who comes.
It's quite beautiful. That's really neat. Can you share just some of the meat and potatoes of the program, so that if people want to get involved or know Gold Star Youth, when it starts, what the time, things like that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So we support Gold Star and surviving youth that are school age. We don't put a number on it, but we look at K through 12. And so the eligibility there is a surviving child who lost a parent or sibling due to their military service. We know that losing your life because of your service doesn't always happen in the time frame of an active duty status, especially when you look at our National Guard and Reserve. So that's really important to us, that is put across, that they are surviving children who lost somebody dear to them due to the military service. And then we pair them with a military mentor. And so this can be someone who is currently serving, or someone who's recently separated. And we look at recently separated as the post 9/11 era. And they come together in the spring, and they train for 10 weeks. This year, that's going to kick off on March 29th. And the goal there is to, the kids set their own goals, but they are training for a 5K that's going to be run on Memorial Day. And so they train up into that point, then they run their race, and then we finish off the season with a hero's hike, which is just a beautiful day, the Saturday following Memorial Day, which is May 31st this year. And so they will get a chance to really tell their mentee or mentor, what they love the most about their journey, what they learn from each other, and just have a fun day. So that's the structure. We are in 5 different locations right now. We are Joint Base Lewis McChord. We are in San Antonio. We are Fort Liberty, Fort Campbell, and Colorado Springs. So looking to expand in years ahead. So I do encourage anyone that isn't in one of those locations, if this is of interest, to let us know, because that's how we kind of know where to go next, where to do our next stand up is obviously where the interest is there. So that's a real brief overview of the program. We do have registration that is open right now. We're accepting applications for our military mentors and the registration for our Gold Star Surviving Youth. So you can go online to our website. It's wearblueruntoremember.org. And under programs, and I'm going to tell you to please go to the programs page, because you're going to get to learn a whole lot more in addition to the Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program there. But there is a tab that says Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program, and it's going to direct you from there to our registration.
Very good. And I will plug real quickly the circle, and there are Saturday meetups kind of across the nation, but here in Washington at DuPont at Powder Works Park at 9 a.m. It's free. And you don't have to be military, but we honor those who died in battle that weekend. And then we go, or it's kind of changing a little bit. So they give you the strips with names in the year, and you say the name of the soldiers or service members that died that weekend. And then you can also say ones that you're there for. Mm-hmm. And it's just really powerful. I go every chance I get, if I'm not traveling or doing other things. And I will say I won't be there this Saturday because of Reads Across America. Mm-hmm. But traditionally, like if I'm not anywhere else, it's Wear Blue. My family, my grandkids come with me. I've even gotten my mom. She's not super athletic, so I consider it a win if I can get her to walk around the parking lot. But she likes to go because it's so meaningful, and I just love that it's free and it's available, but it is nationwide. Mm-hmm. I have friends all across the U.S. who participate in Wear Blue, and it's kind of fun to see different pictures. And then when my husband deploys, he wears his Wear Blue swag and does a lot in theater. And so I am still currently a Blue family member, but also a veteran myself. And then the other one, which is near and dear to me because I'm a veteran, is the Piestewa Challenge. Mm-hmm. And that is honoring the women who've died in battle. And we do 177 miles in a week, and you can have a team up to 8. And that is also a really cool program to be a part of. And I will say, so my book, Lisa Hallett wrote the foreword, and I have a couple stories in the book about Wear Blue. One is the Piestewa Challenge, and the other is bringing kids from Tacoma, from Hilltop actually, to the Wear Blue Circle. And that was super impactful for them because they didn't have military affiliations. Mm-hmm. And just really neat experiences and stuff like that. So I've been a part of Wear Blue since about 2011. And which is why I'm a big Lisa Hallett fan, and have enjoyed watching the growth and watching the changes. And, like you said, you meet kids where they're at. We're at different places within our groups. And I just, I love Wear Blue and everybody in it. Curtis and Emery and
right. They're so wonderful. And I'm so glad that you brought up our community run locations. So I have to say, it's hard to pick one favorite Wear Blue memory for me because there are truly so many. So I'm going to say this is in my top 5. My father served in Vietnam. He was in the Air Force, and throughout, my life, I didn't actually really know that about him. It wasn't until I met my husband, Jason, who, was obviously currently serving in the Army at that time, that conversation started coming up. But fast forward to 2021. My dad was living with me because he had terminal pancreatic cancer, and I brought him to a Wear Blue circle. And, anyone who's had a family member deal with cancer just knows how every second is precious, and also just the toll it takes on their body. So I have my tiny dad in his Wear Blue shirt with my husband's, picture and name on the back, and his little cardigan. And he just walks on up to the circle and just proudly stands there. And he says names. And it was a really beautiful full circle moment for me, but I also saw how meaningful it was for him. And I love that so much about Wear Blue, that our community isn't based off of your athletic ability. It's a community. It's a place of belonging. It's one of my second families here. I know that I can always go there and without having to say a word, really be seen and understood. And I'm so fortunate to have that. And we're so fortunate to have this community that comes together and truly is there to care and support and to love on you. And it's beautiful. But so thank you for bringing that up, because it's important.
It is. And I think when I talk about volunteering, Wear Blue is one of those places that I've really enjoyed volunteering. And so some of the things that I've done with Wear Blue, I've done a couple really small grants or grant writing. And then I've done finishers tents for like the Rock and Roll City Marathon. I've done Race for a Soldier, and now the Capital City. And if there doesn't conflict with my job, I'm always there. And the way I always describe it to Curtis and Emery is like, I'm dialed in. I know exactly what to bring. If I say I'm going to be there, I put it on my calendar and I'm there. But I also want to say that if there are other people who want to volunteer in that capacity, don't feel obligated to utilize me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But it's always my pleasure and my honor. And I have, I want to say a ton of Wear Blue stuff, but I have, iterations through the years. And I think it's one of the places that I easily recommend getting involved in and or volunteering for. I feel like the user experience is good. And I'll go back to the Fiesta One Challenge. I had a buddy down in Colombia. He lives in Colombia. Somebody in Pennsylvania, Arizona, California on my team one year. And they were a little bit cat herdy to understand, because they weren't traditional volunteers, and what did I agree to? And I'm like, it's just 3 miles a day. Team, we can do it. We can do it. And so the next year I was like, okay, I'm not going to organize a team. I don't have time. And so Nikki let me on her team. And that was awesome because that group did like morning texts and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I wanted. And so now I'm a little bit more picky on who I put, because it's 177 miles in a week.
Yes.
And
I love that challenge.
I do too.
I do.
And I love, learning all about the women in service. And Nikki's speech this last year. Like, oh my goodness. In the community, just everybody who's a part of the community that is, I remember one of, Mike, I don't remember his last name. He's been a real, person at the circle, real constant over the last year and a half. And so he bought my book and he comes up running up and he goes, I didn't know I would know people in your book. I didn't either. But it was really cool because it has Stacy Miller, who is on the board for Wear Blue. Yeah. I didn't know she was on the board, but our experiences with the zombie apocalypse and stuff like that. And it's to show, how small the world is. But I think it's a good time, Wear Blue. It's heartfelt.
Yes.
And so it can leave a big knot in your throat, but it's, I think, where we're supposed to be as a community.
Oh, 100%. And, I love what volunteering does for us. Everybody wants purpose, but you also want to belong. And volunteering is that beautiful place where that happens with, it meets both needs there. And the community that you build and whatnot, and what you learn. And, especially with our youth and our mentors, I am floored every year. I really, truly, I think I say this every year, that, wow, this year we just have the best mentors. And they come and they give of their time, but they're also receiving, and our kids teach us so much. And they have so much to offer. And so to give them that, that time and that platform, I'm so grateful to Wear Blue for doing that, because they deserve it. And both sides do. But the healing comes.
I think it's such a reciprocal relationship that I think it is beautiful. And I think specifically for the service member, understanding a bigger purpose, even outside of your service, that, you are valuable to your community. I think that is hugely impactful. Like, really interested in seeing the program just continue to grow and, meld into what is needed each time. Just like I said, with the back to school cards that TMF does, finding the trend of what do kids need right now. Let's help them identify how to do their best.
Yeah.
I think that's what Wear Blue is doing for these kids. That is super special.
Absolutely. And grief is so complicated. As an adult, it's a journey. Your life is always forever, before and after. And it's so for us to come around our youth and to help them put words, to the emotions that they're feeling, to be able to identify that within themselves, but then also to be able to identify their strength, like the resiliency of being a military child. And then, there's another bit to that with their Gold Star kids, of course. But I mean, they deserve that pat on the back, and just to recognize that, I might not feel strong every day, but I am. Because look at what I've done. Look at what I'm doing. I didn't think that I could run a mile. Now I ran 3. We were just hosted at Armor Athletics in Tacoma for a WOD on Veterans Day, and standing in the circle, and the kids are being explained, like what's entailed in the WOD, and we have kids as young as 9 to 18, and I just see their faces. And it's fear of, what did I just get myself into? Which, not gonna lie, I feel that, a little bit.
And funny enough, Armor Athletics is my gym.
They're so wonderful, aren't they?
They are. Yes. Joe and Samantha, his wife, and then I know Ryan helps out from Wounded Warrior Project. I think that's it's a neat collaboration and stuff like that. So when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh, that looks so cool. I'm so glad that you guys did that.
Oh, it's amazing. And the kids, I had interrupted Joe, and I was like, I just need a moment here. And it was just reminding them, like, you guys have done hard things. You have conquered goals that you didn't think that you could. So take that deep breath. And, they looked at me, and they did. And I will tell you, those kids crushed that WOD. Outperformed me by far, which it wasn't a competition, right? Just using, no. And it's amazing, like having, our community bring their arms around us. And so that's what I'm saying. There's, in the ways that you can be involved and volunteer, there is a place for everyone,
Yeah.
So I love that.
I love that. All right. Well, as we wrap up, is there anything else you want to tell people about Wear Blue, about Sarah Vargo, about?
So I really just want to plug again that our Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program, the registration is open. And one of the hardest things for us to do is to reach every eligible child and to give them the option of joining us that season. So the more that people can help us share, do a social media post, talk to friends, whatnot. So just help us continue this conversation so that we can grow our reach. That's what I would ask. That's, I guess, my call to action there. And I'm just so thankful for our military community, because they're unlike no other. So
wonderful. Thank you again for your time today. I know the traffic was super light and easy to get here in the Great Pacific Northwest. But thank you again for your time. Thank you everyone else for joining us for Stories of a Volunteeraholic. My name is Amy T. Meyer. This is Sarah Vargo. My book you can find on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. And have a great day.